Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Let heaven and nature sing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new song. This is episode 8. This evening, we will keep her in our prayers. Dear Ashley is a little bit under the weather today, so she's not with us. But in her place tonight, she's been on before a couple times. We'd like to welcome Manna K. Jones.
Hey, everybody.
Hold on.
This is
There we go.
now
This makes it a little more
applause.
comfortable.
Yay, it's official. Thank you, I'm here.
Because the silence, just like, woo. And also on the couch tonight, we have the beautiful, wonderful Emily K.
Yay.
Right on time this time.
Emily
Yay, look at that.
Oh, I get applause too.
Yes, yes.
There we go. How are you beautiful ladies doing tonight?
Oh, my. Well, I guess a little bit better now that I was called me beautiful.
Beautiful.
But, yeah, we are kind of beautiful, though.
We're pretty stunning.
And both of you red, matching red
Yes,
tonight.
yeah.
It wasn't even
Theme.
planned. We got in the elevator and we were like, well,
Like what?
It's a show.
It's the look.
Yeah. I got a little gray here. You got the gray. Yes,
it's going.
God works.
The good Lord works in mysterious ways. It does. I mean, that's why it's the opening of the show. Amanda, how are you? How are you doing this? How's your week been?
Ooh, my week was good. So I have a God family my God family lives in Orlando, and that's comprised of my God sister and her husband and 3 gorgeous children. And so she's such an immaculate like homemaker and stuff. And she was she had said that her tree and all that kind of stuff was up before I went there, but it was like, no, not until I got there. And, Christmas was alive at Thanksgiving, but no, like the second that we put the dishes in the dishwasher, the Christmas mugs go in the cabinets. The Christmas chimes play. It's magic and wonder. The Christmas pajamas happen. It's the whole thing. And so I've spent this whole week making magic Christmas in my apartment. And it has been truly like a joy, really. Yeah, truly a joy.
Yes, and that's what I love about the decorations. Both of us coming from the South, we're used to all of the Christmas at one time.
Yeah,
but it brings joy. It really does. It does. It's like, every now and again you want to do something different. You want to change something, but like sometimes you just want garland everywhere. Now it can some people can be a bit tacky, but when done well, and like I know who you're talking about, so I know how she does it.
Well, and who she came from, who did well as well. So so that's just made me so happy every time. Like my roommates commented on the tree and was like, "Can you just like leave your door open so we can always see the tree?" And I'm like, "Yes, no problem, no problem." My office door open, so just leave it open.
It's like, and starting your new side business. Like, hey, who wants me to come decorate?
Okay, multiple streams.
Are you from Florida?
No, I was born in Ohio, grew up in Alabama, lived kind of all over, but my god sister and her husband moved to Orlando because it's kind of like halfway between where we grew up in Huntsville and Miami, where his parents are. So, yeah.
I'm from Florida.
You're from Florida. Which part?
I am West Palm Beach. It's like
So,
2.5 hours south of Orlando.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I lived in Tallahassee for like
Oh,
8 years.
nice.
So yeah, I went to Florida State. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Oh my gosh, Florida, red, gorgeous. Okay, I mean,
Stunning.
stunning, beautiful.
It's a
Headbands.
small world
And I
after
mean-
all. I mean, really. I mean, it's like I feel like there's we'll look back on this time, but a lot of artists from the South end up here in the city.
Yeah.
A lot of artists. I mean, I can't even count the number of people we know that are from the same high school that ended up here. It's a true great migration of artists.
Yes, great migration. Yes. But yeah, you didn't say how your week had been.
Oh, I work retail in the holiday season, so
So
I'm
busy, busy,
I'm
busy.
I feel so much joy to be here right now. Yeah, it's been a very busy week. Working retail. I also cater, so I've just been doing lots of work, but it's nice to like be here and get to just like sing a song and talk about joy and things. So I'm very happy and grateful to be here right now and just trying to leave all the rich annoying people in the past.
Yes, yes, it is already history.
Yeah, I know I don't have the patience for retail or any sort of food service. I don't.
I've done both as well, and honey, oof.
That was part of the reason why growing up I was like, I enjoy acting, I enjoy singing, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because it seemed for most people that is part of the life.
Yeah.
Until for a long time for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now I've not done New York, hospitality and retail. That's a whole other thing. Okay, I did Alabama and Florida. That's as far as I went.
Different audience. Different clientele.
Audience and clientele.
Well, Florida, now.
Yeah. There's certainly some wackos down there as well.
Well, half the Upper East Side moved to Florida.
Yeah.
during the
Yeah.
pandemic.
They're pretty much the same clientele, like the
Yeah,
Upper East Side
yeah.
and like Floridians.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I already feel better than when I did when I came in here. She'll let you know that I was a mess in the elevator.
You were not a mess.
I was a mess, but I'm better now because yes, being in here it like changes the atmosphere, and you're in
Totally.
a space where, ooh, the joy is as free as oxygen, as air. Oh.
I will say it is a bit warm though, and it's because today has been rather hot for this time of year.
Yeah.
It's hot
Yeah, like we just
And
stepped outside
humid.
a few minutes ago, and it's very hot and humid.
and humid.
And I put on the sweater, and I was like, "Is this the right choice?"
Yeah. Was the turtleneck the correct decision? I don't think so.
Yeah, I had a little cheat because I went out in a puffer coat, just assuming that.
Yeah.
And went back inside because I had left my phone at home, and so I had to. Driver had to circle back, and I was like, "Oh, I don't need all this. I just came in this." I was like, "Oh gosh, how free!"
Yeah, like I couldn't. My body, because I almost left. I still wore my peacoat today, and I almost because I had to go back home to do something as well earlier today. But I almost left it home. I was like, no, I just in case. Just
See,
in
that
case.
was my thought. What if it drops tonight? The temperature.
Then I'm like, the forecast is like, no, it's be 60.
Great.
What an interesting world we are in. But the world we're in, it is time to think about joy. Like you said, it's Christmas. You look at Park Avenue, the trees are lined up and down. The city really does like it. You see New York in movies, and there's so many things about it that aren't like the movies. But the Christmas decorations of the city do live up to the movies.
Are like the movies, yeah.
I was like, it does. And especially when it does snow in Central Park.
For like one day.
Really like 3 hours until the dawn.
Yeah.
And then it's done. It's done. They've had it. It's theirs. But like it does live up to that.
Yeah.
that
It
world.
really does.
And that's that is one of my we start every staff meeting here at the church with joys. Kathy would go
Yeah.
around and Kathy says, what is your joy? And so we have to come up with something in that. So that really kind of sets the mood and sets the tone for everything I found in our meetings. We did another show where we actually were doing that too.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting thing. And for me, I want us to find to share a joy. Mine will be, and I'm going to cheat, what I just said, is that the Christmas decorations in the city. And, there are things that, and I think even on a bigger level, the things that the world doesn't, I often feel like, especially as an artist in the city today, it often feels like we've arrived at the bar after last call.
Mm.
In terms of what's possible to get to, how to get there.
That's a good analogy. Is that the word? I'm looking for? Yeah.
And
yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
And so, and then and I feel like we often feel like, where do we go? How do we do this? What is if the way that it's been is not, the path? What do you do now?
Mm-hmm. What do you do?
But there are things in life like the snow, and if we fix the climate, for now, it's only for now. And the lights at Christmas, they do still bring joy, and I think it's good, it's okay to, just like it's okay to be a little upset or be a mess for a moment. It's okay to allow that joy, even though the world is crazy.
That's right.
Even though, it's not I saw a meme this morning that was like, the new American dream is to move out of the country as soon as possible.
Right. Oh, ouch.
And so even though we're in that world,
Yeah.
it's still okay to, take a moment from fighting and say, you know what, I'm just going to have some joy.
Yeah. Step away from the fight. Just have some joy.
And that kind of leads into our quote of the week this week is, joy does not simply happen to us. We have to choose joy and keep choosing it every day.
Ooh.
I'll say it one more time. Joy does not simply happen to us. We have to choose joy and keep choosing it every day. And that's true. That first statement is, you kind of have to think about it. Joy does not simply happen to us. Doesn't mean that it can't just happen, but it's not as simple as it just happens.
Yeah, so it's like, what is what does joy need to hop on the train? It's like not being called for dinner. How do you call joy for dinner?
Well, I think it's in the way you said, you have to be in that headspace to be open for it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
People, I think, often just want joy to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or chase things or try to make things that are not joyful joyful. Joy. I think joy is very specific about where it dwells
and where you decide it dwells.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said to me this year, "I don't chase, I attract."
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I first heard it, I didn't understand. Did I talk about this in the last one too? I might have talked about.
I think you said. I think it was before the show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about it now.
Yes, I haven't.
Just that idea of you can't chase the things, you kind of work towards them, and then you attract whatever happens. And then even when if something good happens, joy, there's so many variables to joy, one good thing can happen, but you could still be focusing on something else bad that happened. And life is so unpredictable, especially in this last year. So many good things have happened, but you have to kind of there are still bad things happening around you, and you just can't really focus on them if you want to follow the path of being joyful and being happy and having happiness. You have to I don't know, let go of some things and find the joy and let yourself be happy and focus on the joy in your life.
You really do have to let yourself be happy. And it's also too, I think people often try to separate it out but it's not that simple in the terms of you might be feeling joyful about one thing, but then sad about another thing. I mean, it's like a good recipe. It's very layered. It's like a good lasagna. That's how feelings are. You
Lasagna's
have
good.
a couple layers of joy.
Lasagna is so good.
But it's balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's I was thinking about that. Some of the best cocktails or some of the best foods, or you think chocolate and some of the, or caramel, some of the best part is the bitter part when you have a little bit burnt. When you have part of, when you want to char marshmallow in a s'more is to get that burnt, to get that char.
Okay.
You need that to balance out the intense sweet, to balance out that, because imagine if we just all drank Mountain Dew all the time and that like water.
Ew.
See?
We'd be crazy.
Like it would be too much.
Yeah.
It would be too much.
And so it's like,
Too much of a good thing.
Yeah, so like you were saying that you have to let something go,
Yeah.
and then you were saying be open. So it's just like, yeah, joy needs its space. You know, it needs space enough for it to be, you know, because it's like, you know, think if I were to, you know, climb, or think if you were to climb into the back of a trunk or something and somebody shuts it, you're gonna feel, really terrible. Okay, really terrible, really quick, right? But you know, and so I think joy is like that. It's not meant to be put in a trunk in the back somewhere, and for no one to see it or no one else to experience it. But it needs to be, you know, to run, and whatever joy looks like in terms of you know, an activity, or you know, here we're singing and making music and talking about you know, just off the cuff from our hearts here. So like joy just really does need that space. So I needed to leave the elevator.
Yeah.
The word leave the elevator on the elevator.
leave all
Yeah.
that, like I say, leave it outside the door.
And open my space, let that go, open my space, and now
Like the first time I heard that, I was like going to my first in-person callback since the pandemic, which I didn't book it. That's okay. But I remember someone saying, I don't chase, I attract. And I was like, no, I am chasing. I am chasing because I want this. And then I feel like I was chasing so hard, so many things. Like you talked about performance at the beginning. And like when I stopped chasing and was just like working on like the things that I could control, more things started to fall into place. And that's kind of when it's like started to click as, oh, maybe you shouldn't just chase things you think you want. You should just work on what you can control and then let the joy catch up to you in a way.
Yeah, and even like, you know, like during the pandemic, we're still in it, but towards the beginning of it, you know, I was thinking about, I was like, at first I was feeling bad because I feel like a lot of people, like, if you weren't creating stuff, people were like, I feel bad because we're not creating, we're just sitting around. But then I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe you're going to be busy later, so take this time now.
Yes.
So that
later,
too
maybe, is my
maybe
testimony.
Maybe you need this little time to yourself. Let the down, you know, take the downtime as valuable as the I'm working time. You know.
That's it. Yeah.
In fact, sometimes the more joy comes in the downtime after the work.
Yeah. I definitely felt that too. Like, you know, just rest, just wait. It's okay. Just wait.
You ain't gotta be doing something 24/7.
Yeah.
You gotta be doing something.
And I feel like, you know, well, and that's also very hard to say also in New York when rent is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, but I have to eat.
Someone
and
told me the
sleep
other day, they
somewhere.
were like, it's going to be the year of no. They're like, why are you hustling so much? And I was like, I have to pay my parents don't pay my bills. I don't know what to tell you.
Get it done. So, wow.
Yeah, New York is very interesting. I feel like it's in a weird place right now where it's almost like, I don't feel like the art is gone, but it's almost like the art is being pushed out because of the price.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like the golden era, even though it was slightly more dangerous, really was like the 80s and the 90s when you could, and there have been other pockets. It's kind of ebbed and flowed, but I think we're on the other side of it. And, you know, like when you could find a loft apartment as an artist downtown.
Yeah.
And actually afford it.
Oh God. Oh God. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't even. Yeah, it would, like last call was like, you know, 2 months ago for that.
That was little sliver, the little
Yeah.
sliver. And even then, it was like, not really.
Oh, not really. No.
It's going to go back up.
And it's like, well, they got to pay property taxes and all that. Yeah, and it's just like, but then my brain goes, but then where else? Where did the people go? Or is that, you know, because before I feel like we congregated so heavily in certain places because there was no internet, there was no, you know, you had to have the central hubs, but now people just go create what they want to create. If you need to fly somewhere, you go fly somewhere and go create over here or send in the video. You know,
Yeah.
is it living? Is that art is going to just continue to live everywhere? And to be honest, that makes it a little bit more fair for the rest of the world
I
that
think
can't
so.
get to New York or that can't be here.
Yeah.
Some growing pains right now, I feel.
Very.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Very well, and we were talking about this a bit last week of like with all the stuff and I've been having like I don't know if it's like event fatigue, even though I haven't been anywhere. But like there are certain events that certain communities have been doing that I'm like, you say it's for a certain cause, but then I know somebody else is getting the money.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Sound alarm.
But I feel like there's been a lot of that, or like especially post George Floyd. There's been a lot more of but it's still been in the same place. Oh, we just throw them on stage, throw them.
Yeah. Just
And
put
not
faces on stages.
in the where it should be at the top with producers and every single thing. Because rightfully so. There's a lot to understand about the stories of people of color, and so you need a black producer to produce it. Why should someone who has nothing to do with that or come from any of that care so much about it in that way? That to the point of where they could produce it in a way that's going that it should be produced to that level.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely quite a conundrum because let's juxtapose Porgy and Bess and Fire Shut Up in My Bones. It's like they are both black stories, all black casts. One was written by a Jewish man and his lyricist, and the other was, by Terrence Blanchard. So, it was a black man writing about and so in that context, both work. But the problem is, like you said, it still faces on stock photos and website.
Well, it's still a
Splash
black story
pages.
from the perspective of web. I don't care, It's it just is different.
It's
It's
different.
like like we were talking about the show. All I could see is Wakanda. What is the name of that movie?
Oh, Black Panther.
Black Panther, and part of my because I never really watched it at the first when it first came out, and then I really didn't watch it after I found out the composer was white, and I was like,
yeah, it was disappointing. It was disappointing because you feel like, oh, this opportunity could go to someone
and so
who's
and this is for
actually
you,
in
and
that
blah blah
space.
blah, and it's like because so many black people love it. I'm like, but it's still not quite what it should be, and I feel like people like, oh, we achieved it. No, we didn't achieve it yet. It still got some.
It's ever evolving, ongoing.
It was a
A
good
little
step.
step.
Like, shall we overcome? I'm not gonna
Or we just go over here.
yeah, shoot deep in my heart. I don't know.
But that's what my mama said. She's like, I don't believe in that song no more.
That song is tired. It is irrelevant. No.
She's like, I'm gonna stay right over here.
Yeah. So then is that the question about if this was not still seen as the artist mecca, why New York? Why? Especially for us, wanting to be artists, but with less rent, less this, less that, all of the ills that living in New York poses. If we didn't have the art anymore, didn't need to be here for the art. Still New York?
But there are still other things other than the art of the city that I think will still be around. Even if it becomes a glass tower, there will still be restaurants.
Yeah.
There will still be food. Well, to a certain extent, because again, the best food comes from the most authentic restaurants, and if they get priced out,
these New York establishments and institutions and that's the thing that is what kind of made New York. That's why it's okay for it smells and it's blah blah and it's whatever.
Because you can get the best food in the world.
And because you gotta find it though. I mean, sometimes you
you
think
really
you're like,
gotta
oh, this is gonna be
search, but-
great.
But some
yeah,
places,
there's a whole lot
and
more
relatively,
places
and
where
also
you can-
not at like Michelin star restaurant price.
Yeah.
Like you have that if you want that.
Yeah.
But it can't be all that.
Yeah.
Right. So then is it like turning into a Dubai where it's like just so
Just a symbol.
yeah, it's just so pristine and just and it's not a place that people are flocking to have any one career or another. I think finance and tech are probably
Yeah.
and all kinds of amazing things. But, you know, it's not necessarily, you know, for us artists, it's like we have maybe 2 places and a few reserved, like LA, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And then there's Chicago, and then maybe a little bit Atlanta. But
Like, depending who you
you know,
are.
depending who you are, you know, yeah. So it's like, then
It's just like, then where?
Yeah.
And
So
that's part, and that's part of why, you know, why I'm still here and why we're building Mosaics here is mainly because it's like, well, the people are still, most of the people that I know are still here,
Yeah.
or can get here.
Yeah.
And so, but is it going to be, you know, like The Crown, where we just put up with it
Yeah.
because it's what we've done?
Well, it sounds like we
That's
keep.
kind of what it feels like.
Yeah. 'Cause I was like,
We don't have an answer.
we
Why?
don't. But what it sounds like is that we keep choosing New York every day, like joy.
And it does bring me joy, and I do enjoy living here because of the diversity.
Yeah.
And the thing, you know, so it's like, it definitely has its benefits, but it's like
I know,
Yeah.
but we keep choosing it.
I never understand when tourists come here. It always confuses me. Especially after the pandemic. I'm like, what?
it's like, and you want to go to Times
What are you
Square?
doing?
Right, and you still
Why are you
want to
here?
go to Times Square. Oh my gosh.
I really don't get it. Especially
Better to see Broadway shows.
like before Broadway was open and tourists were coming here. I was like, you're truly just coming here because you think you should? Like,
Well,
there's
I think that's
nothing
that was
open
a
right
lot
now.
Of people, yeah, well, there was a lot of people too that were like, "Oh, great, there are no like foreign tourists, so we're going to go to New York now." 'Cause we
Yeah.
can't go anywhere
Yeah.
else.
Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, it's like, you know, before you're here, but it's like, oh, I got to get to go to New York. Ah.
My
Yeah.
dad has
Big
never
city.
been to
Oh,
New
you've been
York.
to New York.
Oh, really?
My father has never come to New York in his whole life.
He's like, I
Wow.
don't care.
I'm like, you're going to come visit? And he's like, I don't want to go to New
Yeah,
York.
I don't want to go to.
Yeah, I feel like that's the thing. It's either you want to go because it's you see it. I think it's also because it's so many stories take place here,
Mm-hmm.
and so many iconic stories.
Yeah.
I mean, look at not the most recent reboot, but the original Sex and the City, and look at.
There's a lot to unpack there.
I have not watched it.
I haven't either. I've just seen a lot of stories. That is something too that I find very interesting. So, and so it happens. This is not a reboot, but Dear Evan Hansen, the movie. And there are a couple other things, but like I feel like there've been, I mean, even like Will and Grace, but like I feel like there's been like they've been trying to reboot. Even Broadway is like it's stuck in revival, like reboot, like
Or even
redo,
like
redo.
movies like Mean Girls,
Exactly.
Frozen. Not a lot of new art is being
Yeah,
made.
Exactly.
and then it's like Tina Turner.
Or being
and
picked
Carol
up
King
at
and
least.
they're
all
also
that.
flopping.
They're also
Mhm.
what?
Flopping.
Oh, well.
Diana announced its closing date today. It's in like a week.
Oh, Diana. Why did that get to Broadway?
Because it had the money.
My
because somebody cared enough.
We shall not overcome.
my partner is from England and he was just so offended by it. He was like, the Queen would never speak like that. I was like, I can't speak to that, but
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Make it make sense.
I mean, you know, it makes sense in the land because it's like I feel like right now what's on Broadway is revivals, biopics, and not biopics but bio shows, and or yeah, well really those two, revival or like a jukebox musical,
oh yeah,
or like a slash movie turned into a musical.
or Disney.
Oh goodness. Still we keep choosing it.
We do.
We keep
do.
choosing
So we keep choosing it.
Well, you know, to a certain extent, though. I feel like for me, I definitely don't choose Broadway in that community in the same way that I did when I first came here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean New York. Like New York,
Well, yes.
despite its, questionable Broadway shows and,
I think it's another
choose
thing
to.
is that like joy can evolve and joy can change and the things that bring you joy can change. Because when I moved here when I was 18, like 2 days after I turned 18. And I was like, Broadway. Like musical theater is my life. I don't know if I had ever sung a pop song before in my life. And now that has changed and evolved so much. Like Derek plays my shows all the time. And the first one we played together, I was singing music that makes me dance in Corner of the Sky. And now I'm doing jazz songs and pop songs and like have found such a home in that world, and coming and doing things like this are bringing me so much more joy than waking up at 5 a.m. to go dance for a Hello Dolly audition ever did. Like so much more joy. And that is like a way that it evolved and changed. And because I let that in, I now have found that new place in life.
I love it. Yeah, snaps.
If you had your choice, of course, now I was harping on revivals. However, I do like. I'm okay with revivals if you're reviving it to say something today. If you are, and I'll give you a little bit to think about it, if you were to pick a musical to revive, specifically in 2021, that would say something. Just what you think.
Okay, like Jeopardy. Thinking of have already been revived.
The bacon's ready.
Yes, yes.
So what do you think? Who, if you could revive, who wants to go first?
Oh, well, okay. The eyebrows have arched all the way over here, and okay.
I mean, they're drawn right on, so I can
well,
just
listen,
start
they
them
was-
over.
they like, yes. So, interestingly, I would say Brigadoon, but you know the Apple TV show
Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon, right? They were, I think, in similar ways that they were able to make that relevant to like relationships, you know, and how relationships will, you know, whatever choice you take, like only your truest relationships will get you to, you know, over the bridge, I guess, pretty much. And I think that message being in the original musical was really, I don't know, it really spoke to me because it's like love really can do a lot. Like it can change, you know, whole, you know, whether it's magical or fancy or whatever, real life, like the through line is love. And so the in my garden there'll be love, and it's just like I don't know, it's just gives me goosebumps just to think about that and bringing it into today and what the bounds of some other mysterious town arising from the, you know, the fog 100 years later, like looking back to us, people in 100 years looking back to where we are, you know, and being like, that's weird. We don't, we're not like that. You know, we don't do that mess anymore. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Brigadoon.
I don't know if I have an answer to this question. I have always had a very hard time connecting with older musicals. I don't know why. I just like, I couldn't name one that I'm like, I love that musical. I just don't connect to them. I guess if I could say one, it's not old enough to be revived, but like Next to Normal has always been like, for me as a child, it was a musical that I really connected to, and just like seeing different family dynamics portrayed on stage and the struggles of that family, which can seem so like fictionalized in a way, but like that stuff actually happens. The plot and the family dynamics that are in that show actually happen. I would like to see that brought back with more diversity among the cast. But yeah, I don't feel like that's a good answer because it like literally is a pop musical that just happened. So
Like
it's not a good answer. I just don't.
No,
I
it's
don't
a bad
connect. I also just.
What about a song like that you wish was like staged or something like that, or like a song from something?
I'm so blanking. I'm so blanking.
No, I don't listen. I don't know
How
I
did
gotta
this
answer.
is totally me deflecting the question by giving you another question. Did you see the Oklahoma revival?
I did not. Because
No, but I knew the
heard
makeup of the cast and all that,
I
and
heard all the
I'm
things,
not
and I was
buying
like,
it.
I'm
So
not buying tickets for that.
But I just felt like it was another kind of like the what's coming back now, Music Man. I just don't understand. I'm like, why don't you write new art for people to do?
Well, Music Man is one of my favorites, but mainly because, and funnily enough, actually, now that you said Music Man would actually probably be the one that I do. But again, but not like they're doing. It. They're just
Yeah.
remounting the show. Same with the Hello Dolly.
remounting the show.
They're just
Yeah.
remounting the
That's
same
right.
show.
That's right.
There's because I mean, it's a very good show, and I think it's almost to a detriment instead of updating it and bringing it to this, because then audiences go and see it and they're like, eh.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I could have a DVD of that
Exactly.
or cassette.
But it's
tape.
almost like they're catering to the rich older people who do come to New York who will spend money and who want to see those shows.
Well, because
Specifically,
also
like-
because they're the ones producing it.
That's what I was going to say. Specifically, like rich white people who come to visit New York, who give the money to the show and then who will go and fund the tickets, as opposed to like bringing these new work. I don't think there's a lack of new work. I think it's
No.
just the producers not putting money into it because they don't think it will sell tickets as well.
Yeah. Well, it's not what they want to see.
Yeah.
And to be completely fair, why should they put their hard-earned money into something they don't want to see? To be, because I surely wouldn't. And so, and that's goes back to the point of like, that's why we've got there's a lot of things to fix. There's the racial wealth gap. There's,
That's what I'm saying.
It's a lot to touch on in an hour.
It
Yeah.
is. It really is.
It's a lot. Yet we still choose New York.
We still choose New York. God's
I looked
country.
down the other day and there's a sticker that said New York or nowhere. And I was like, I don't agree with this, but also clearly I agree with this because I'm here.
Yeah, clearly also. Oh
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, I've felt that, and I think one of the places where it's like I've been like, I could live in London because it's close enough to New York.
Yeah.
In terms
Non-stop
of large
6 hours.
city,
Mm-hmm.
they speak English,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't have too much learning to do, and it's like I like the English countryside.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm very much so a go sit at the beach when it's 60 degrees with a sweater on. That kind of like.
Oh.
I can totally see that.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's also the
Yeah.
same distance,
Yeah, except
basically.
for you're like go to the Bahamas when it's
Yeah.
100
Oh,
degrees.
yeah. I need.
Yeah.
Like 90 degrees. Yes.
You just wanna
Runs
go
out
to
to
the
the water. You know.
It's also like basically the same time flight wise from like here to California and
Mhm.
here to London.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, and so it's like I've been like that. That's one place I could go. We every now and again, Conrad and I talk about. It's like maybe Toronto's another nice place, not too far. Can still get family.
Yeah.
Similar to New York. I think it's Toronto. Toronto's the one above us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Could be anywhere.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, because Vancouver is the one that's over.
Yeah.
on the other side.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're still
We're
here.
still here. And no intentions of leaving.
Yeah.
But like sometimes I do feel like on the spur of the moment that could change. And and that both excites me and potentially scares
Yeah.
me, because it's like, oh gosh, that whole thing about, oh, she couldn't or he couldn't or they couldn't make it in New York, so now they're
Well,
and
it's like we
yeah.
were talking about, like it's so much more than that in terms of like what has to happen for any sort of fame or anything to go anywhere to even get booked for a call. Like there's so many things that you don't have control over that have to line up for that to go right for specifically you. It's like it's not about if you can make it. I mean, yeah, because it's like no, if you can make it in New York doesn't mean you can make it anywhere. That's not true.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not true.
It's not true.
False.
Sinatra.
False.
He lied.
And I need to get with the lyricist on that one.
Kander and Ebb.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I do think about that. Like,
But I feel like we all come there with that mentality.
yeah.
If you can make it here, you can make it almost like to prove to ourselves that we're
There's
worthy
there's
of
some
life.
there's
Yeah.
some pride in, I think, the reason that we stay as well. Or I can't speak on everyone in the
Yeah,
room, but
no.
I'm sure there's some ego thing happening that's like, well, I have to stay here. My dad calls me every week and is like, so when are you coming back to Florida?
Right.
And I love my
Right.
dad. I'm like, I'm not dad. I'm not going back right now.
Yeah, you know, Melody, my friend Melody, like she's staying in Huntsville with her family for just like 6 weeks. Just she has an extended time that she can stay with them, and her mom is like she's been here over 10 years, 11 years.
Yeah.
Even it's like 12, but like yeah, her mom keeps saying, "Oh, are you gonna stay? I thought you were gonna stay. You sure you don't want?" It's like, why does everybody think we need to
It's
escape
like,
from
I have
New York?
a job.
I have a
I
job.
can't, like,
Not a
admit,
good
have a
one,
home,
but
no.
I have one.
I have a husband.
Yeah. Yeah, like seriously, like no, it's not. So, but thinking about if I do leave, it will be like I feel like it will be a forward progression. I think I can expect for it to be some type of forward progression, even if it's like, okay, now I'm going to go establish my foundation that's something and it's in Minnesota. Oh God. It won't be in Minnesota. But who knows?
It's cold there.
It's
I've
very
heard.
cold. It's
Very
very cold in Minnesota. So, I look forward to whatever time that is, but I'm certainly not going to run. Because if I was going to run, I would have run, and this pandemic would have sent me running.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, we're still here.
We're still here.
Good times and bad times.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen them all, but my
Ah.
I'm still here. I don't know if those are the lyrics, but it's
Yeah,
close enough.
yeah.
Sometimes looking down like, nope, that's not right. He's like,
It's on
nope.
literally.
Yeah.
Just like, dude.
No, you're in a safe space.
Yeah,
You're in a safe space.
Yeah, we got the gist. Yeah, it's and so I'm going to read the prayer next, and it's because I was just reading through it real quick, and I was like, it's hard to do this, but Lord Jesus Christ, help us to receive your joy with great I messed that up earlier. Lord, help us to receive your joy with great expectation and sing new songs of your love and abiding presence. For you have done great things for us, and great things are on the way. And that goes back to like what we were talking about earlier of, sometimes let's just chill out for a moment before the busy happens. Or like one of our friends, Ashanti, was in a car crash recently, and she was luckily fine. She was just bruised. But afterwards, I was like, hopefully this is the bad thing to balance out all the good that's to come.
That's to come, right. Ooh, well, if that's those are the metrics. Let me tell you, y'all. Listen.
You were away your first half of your life.
Yes, Lord.
You said I'm about to start cashing in.
Yes,
Lord.
Yes. Ooh, eyes haven't seen, honey.
It's like cut to 20 years from now.
I
It's
know.
like, and President Manna today put into office a new order.
My people.
In her 19th term this year.
19th.
Oh, Lord, talk about
Cashing in
being,
some joy.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness, talk about being both scared and exhilarated. Oh my goodness.
You know how like people like talk about when they get to places and they're like, oh, where I am is like beyond my wildest dreams, and I'm just like, well, where am I supposed to go? Because I've dreamt that
I've dreamt a lot of
New
things.
York. So if I'm going to own more than New York, where is that?
Yeah.
I mean, not literally, but it's
Where
like
is the ball? Where is the beyond?
like my imagination goes pretty far. So y'all,
Yeah. I have a pretty active imagination
Yeah,
with
I'm
like
like,
a
oh.
lot of anxiety. I've thought of a lot of things.
Yeah, it's like maybe I should just like turn it off. Like, where is the don't expect anything button? Where is the wildest dream button?
You know, it's one of the things where it's like I always tell myself, well, you know, you hope for the best, you expect the worst, and it'll end up somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And it always ends up in the middle. Why don't I just assume it's going to be in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Because like even Succession, even where the kids are is not where, you know, they're trying to be where Roy, what his name? Logan. They're trying to be where he is, right? And the best they're gonna get is somewhere not that.
Yeah.
But
Even though he started out from below where
right,
they were.
right.
Well, that's partially just part of their character and part of the lifestyle they lived.
Right. Yeah. But it's like even as a kid of a Roy Star Waco, whatever, like can only
Get so far.
can only get so far. You know? And so when you think about, you know, okay, well then where is my so far? Where is the actualization of my only so far? And yeah, it probably will be a negotiation, you know.
You know, I look at like Marcus and I were talking about one of his friends who I think she's like 23. He just got like a wedding invitation for her wedding.
Oh.
And things like that. And it made me think about, well, I mean, it's fine, but it's like sometimes I envy people where it's like they're perfectly fine and happy with having an average life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish.
I wish. Oh,
Like,
please,
could I not
average
just
life,
be,
please.
like, just get in my car, go to work, be okay, go
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
I feel like
Go
this
to bed,
sounds
have a
terrible,
family.
but like when I'm at my retail job, and I really do love all the people I work with, but I'm like, I wish I could be happy being a manager
Yeah.
of Lululemon.
Yeah.
But I could never. I just like
Yeah.
that
just
would
think
be,
there's
and
some
I don't
people
mean
that, like,
that's
that's
bad.
their
Like,
life. They're
and
like,
that
I
is
made
great
it.
for them, and I love that is that for them. But I just like I wish I could be happy doing something like that, you know.
Yeah. That wasn't all of this.
But
angst.
just have so many wild dreams, all of us in this
Right.
room.
Right. Oh my goodness. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Can I have tame dreams?
Yeah, normal dreams.
Can they just be tame?
It's okay. We'll recant the same conversation on Colbert in like 3 years. It's fine. And that's why we're not okay with that, because eventually we'll all be there.
Yeah.
You know, I do have hope and faith in that.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
yeah. So you're expecting these good things to come.
Mm-hmm. For you have done great things for us, and great things are on the way.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we hope.
Not
Listen,
gonna.
yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
I think
Great
they
things
are.
are on
I
the
think
way.
they are. I mean, it's whether we're near the end of the pandemic or not. I think at least we're adjusting,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, it's an interesting world it's created, but I feel like it was almost like the coronavirus took the world and put it in a snow globe and then shook it.
Mm-hmm.
So it created some pockets of opportunity that I don't think would have been there otherwise. You know.
Accelerated them. You
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like
Yeah.
shook some things, and now some, and so things are starting to settle, and some,
Yeah.
Yeah, the dust is settling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and even though, and it's also too, it's we've learned how to brace the buildings within the snow globe, where he's still shaking, but we've learned how to brace. for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
know.
Shoot. No. There's no better example of that than New York, honey. New
Yeah.
York's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and put in a state of emergency, just so
Just
we're-
casually.
just casually.
it's like Omicron. Everybody's still just like normal, walking around,
literally.
eating in restaurants.
But we got
It's
this
like,
state of
yeah.
emergency, but just because we cool about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
We're-
shall be an interesting time. When
I think there's
say the
also
least.
something to be said. We kind of like talked about how we're still here. We're still here. There's also something to be said for the fact that we are still here, like, and there is part of us that we're choosing to stay here and have to be proud of ourselves for like continuing, and also like proud of our friends and people who are like, actually, I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like the snow globe shook and it made people be like, whoa, I actually don't like, I don't want to be in New York, or I don't want to be in this career. And that was like what they needed to go on. And then also like us for staying here, like we have to be proud of ourselves for that, and acknowledging like, oh, you don't want to do that. I'm so proud of you for getting out of here. I do. I'm going to be proud of myself for continuing to like do this, and to stay.
Every last word of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. what? This then we'll kind of use this to wrap up. What, in terms of Christmas music, what brings you both joy in terms of the holiday season?
Christmas music, like in songs, like if for decades it was Mariah Carey's Christmas album. Like not just All I Want for no, the whole album. The whole album. And yeah. So the Christmas queen, goddess of the universe. But I have not in the past 3 or 4 years. That's not been my Christmas go-to. And actually, I'm in search of what is to replace that, because my favorite Christmas song is "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." So anytime I can hear that, whomever is singing it, wherever, however it can be, I don't prefer that version, but I still love that song, like,
love that.
Seriously. So besides having that kind of just song in my heart, and I'm in search of what Christmas music, speaks to my 2021 going into 2022 self.
What about you?
I don't think I have that many Christmas traditions throughout. Just there was never that many traditions or set things. There was always like a lot of changing things. But one that was always constant was singing "All I Want for Christmas" is you. Yeah. Like with my family, that was the one thing that was like, we have to do this, like as a family. So that always just like brought me so much joy. I didn't think this was the appropriate place to sing that, just like Mariah carrying it on the couch right now. But we're clearly so in sync, because I'm gonna sing "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas."
I can't wait.
I know. But Christmas, there is something so special about Christmas music, though, and I don't really know what it is. Yeah. But there's just something like cathartic in a way, or that really does truly bring joy. And like as soon as Thanksgiving is over, I'm like, time for the Christmas tune. I don't know if it's just a change of pace, or I don't know what it is.
It really is like God throws confetti over everything.
Yeah.
And just, celebrate.
Like all the songs are exactly the same too, as well. They all say the same thing.
Well, and like as a composer, writing a Christmas song is it's because it's so particular to find what does Christmas sound like without sounding like a, because the reality is a Christmas song sounds like a song from the 40s or the 50s. That's
definitely.
That's because all of those "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," all that was written.
Yeah.
There's some like nostalgia to it.
Yeah, and so I feel like the most recent original Christmas song that I actually love is "This Christmas."
What were background singers?
No, I mean I can work on it.
No, it was, you know this reference too. Patti LaBelle singing it at the thing. She's like, "Where are my background singers?"
I don't know if I've seen that.
Okay, as soon as it's done, I'll show you. How have you not seen it?
What did she sing this Christmas?
This Christmas at the Clintons' like Christmas concert, like in the
where she cut all the way up, right? Like,
no, they left her. They dropped a cue card. She didn't know the words, so she was like, "Where are my background singers?" She's like, "I don't know the words." That's what Ashley was referencing last year.
Okay.
I was like, "You've seen it."
Yes, I've seen it. I've seen it. I just, it has been drowned out by all the other times. Patti LaBelle, sings 2 notes. Oh, she cut it up. She cut.
Let's not talk about the time Patti LaBelle just threw a stand across the stage in the middle of Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yes.
Okay, wait, what?
Oh, she cut up.
I'll show you that to
I
you.
missed that. I missed that one.
Yeah, in the best way. But yes, I forgot to think about she was saying "This Christmas" and dropped a cue cards. It's all right. Love you, Dad.
That and June is busting out all over will be the
infamous.
Oh, Leslie Uggles.
Oh gosh.
Shall we give them a little "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas"?
Dabba dooba.
It's like, "Have yourself a
Jooby. Don't jinx
like,
me. It might happen.
You just forget that
happen.
part every time.
Just Merry Little Christmas.
Have yourself a merry little. Hey, make your day be like no.
Oh Oh, Derek, I love you.
No, does not at all know how to act, but whatever, it's fine.
Oh, God. I never know how to sing sitting on a couch, you know what I mean? Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let the Yuletide begin. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years we all will be together, if the fates allow. So hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years we all will be together, if the fates allow. So hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
Well, thank you all. Thank you, Emily, for singing that so beautifully.
Oh, thank you for having me again. I love it
So
here.
much joy.
Yes.
It's
And
so
thank
nice
you
on
all
this.
for coming and joining us tonight. We hope you'll join us next week. Will be our last week. Kathy will be here as our special guest. And also, hope you'll join us on the 21st for the Holiday Jam. More about that coming out this week. So I'll talk to you all next week. Bye.